Hi, welcome to my channel. This is Jo Bren, yours truly. I will be discussing to you the link in between stress and depression. But before I will do that, let me remind you that I will be discussing this one based on my research. So what is stress and what is depression? Are they related? So stress is a normal part of life. So when you think about the word normal, it means stress is everywhere. We all experience stress, emotional stress, physical stress, psychological stress, and pain and the heartaches is part of your emotional stress. But how about depression? Depression is a mental health condition that affects our ability to deal with our own problems or struggles. Stress is our normal bodily response when we encounter problems or struggles, especially if it's physically and mentally demanding. For example, if you fail to pass the board exam, do you get hurt? Yes. Do you feel angry? Yes. And that is part of your emotional stress. If you don't know how to manage your emotional stress, possibly it can lead to depression. Why? Why is it so? Because when you think about failure, it hurts you. Because when you think about pain, you don't like to experience pain. That's why when you keep on blaming yourselves because of that failure, your mind tells you that you are not good enough. That's how stress becomes a depression. So what makes you stressed out? It is because of high-pressure events that comes into our lives. So take note, not everyone who experiences the same situation like ours end up with being depressed. Do you think it's unfair? Do you think we are good compared to you? No. According to science, it is because of our biological factors. Possibly, it comes from our genes. For example, if your parents have a strong self-esteem or self-worth, so when you encounter problems, possibly you will also have a strong self-esteem or self-worth. You will not give up so easily. But in every rule there is exemption. There are parents who have low self-worth or self-esteem, but their children are self-determined to pursue life despite the difficult situation. So when you think about stress or feeling of depressed, in my own opinion, it's all about how we handle ourselves when we encounter problems or struggles. It really depends on us. There are two kinds of stress: the acute stress and the chronic stress. Acute stress, we all experience acute stress. Example, the COVID-19 pandemic. We are all stressed out. We all experience acute stress, but then we quickly recover. We always think the positive way. Because acute stress is a short-time stress. Then we quickly recover. That's the power of self-resiliency, our ability to bounce back despite the difficult situation. How about chronic stress? Chronic stress is a long-time stress. It is consistent. You keep on hurting yourself because of your level of stress. You easily get hurt, and you already had and it keeps on attacking you all over again. That makes it, then it becomes chronic stress. Stress is not an absolute negative thing. Why? We have the so-called the eustress. Eustress helps you to do better. Eustress motivates you to do something good for yourself. For example, if your boss wants you to do something for the team and you don't like it because handling people is a very demanding job. But instead of complaining or murmuring about the new task, you decided to accept the challenge, you decided to do your best, and because you have a good positive view about the new task, you were able to do it. And your boss is very happy. Do you think stress is a negative thing? No. It helps you to do something, to do more about yourself. Stress can lead to a negative stress if you can't focus anymore. If you become so anxious, you feel that you are not good enough. You feel that you are worthless. That's how stress becomes a negative one. You are so distressed. So what makes you stressed out? There are two factors, external and internal causes. So when you think about external causes, it is the environment that makes you stressed out. Your family, your friends, and the people around you makes you stressed out. They are part of your external causes. How about internal causes? It is your own thoughts and feelings that makes you stressed out. In short, you are putting pain inside of yourself. That is internal. You are very negative. You keep on blaming yourself. That makes you stressed out. There are a lot of reasons why we feel stressed out and why it leads to chronic stress. High-pressured events lead us to think that way. Because of that feeling, sometimes we feel lost, we are not happy, we engage ourselves into a non-productive lifestyle. For example, non-productive, too much drinking or partying, taking drugs. This is not a good sign. Why? Because stress can affect our health. When we are stressed, our physical body responds. When our body responds to the situation, we choose to fight or flight. When you talk about fight, to deal with our problem, or flight, to escape from our problem. If we don't know how to take it, we will experience difficulty in dealing with it. It sounds complex, but it keeps on going on and on. When you are having difficulties dealing with your own stress, it makes you depressed. There are factors that makes us depressed. Environment, our genes, and our personality. As what you've noticed, these factors are just the same factors or causes with stress. So factors related to stress and depression is closely related to one another. When stress overpowers us, we might be experiencing depression. And according to Harvard University, there are 4 types of depression. The major depression, the persistent depressive disorder, the bipolar disorder, and the seasonal affective disorder. Since this is very clinical, so I will not get into the details. At least you are aware what are those types of depression that we will go through if we will not be able to handle our level of stress very well. So when you are struggling dealing with your stress, you are now experiencing stress overload. So what happens to you now? Your cognitive. What is cognitive, by the way? It is how you think is affected. Your emotion is affected. Your physical body is also affected. Your physical body is affected and your behavior is also affected. That's why when all of these factors are affected, it will result to depression. So let's take a look how stress and depression works. Chronic stress works when we are so overwhelmed with so many problems. It releases stress hormones. These hormones can slow down the normal functioning of the brain, including the serotonin and dopamine, which is responsible for your mood regulation. If these 2 hormones are reduced, our ability to cope up with our own problem is also affected. And that's the time depression comes in. As what they say, Understanding stress and depression is very complex and circular. When you talk about complex, it's very complicated. It's quite confusing. When you talk about circular, it keeps on going on and on. We will encounter a lot of problems in life. It keeps on attacking us every now and then. But according to McQueen, he said, there is only one thing for sure about us. When we are stressed out, we neglect positive lifestyle. We take drugs, we go to the party without sleeping, we hate doing the things we normally love, and stressing ourselves out can lead to chronic stress and can increase the risk to major depression. That's according to him. Can stress turn into depression? Yes. Chronic stress affects our relationship. You hate dealing with other people and you feel self-isolated. That's the time depression comes in. Depression is possibly the outcome of your chronic stress. Negative stress can affect both your physical and mental state. You cannot think well, therefore your body will also respond based on how you think. Because let's go back in time, according to René Descartes, I think, therefore I act. So, stress, if you are so negative, your body is also affected. If your thoughts are influenced by the negative stress, it becomes chronic and possibly leads to depression. As what you can see, there are a lot of signs that our stress has turned into depression. Let's be mindful. A simple stress can lead to a more chronic stress if we don't know how to manage it well. Managing ourselves well prevents us from going through the stages of depression. You might ask me how to cope up with depression. Always remember, always just stay connected as much as possible. When you think you can cope up with your problems, do not keep it to yourself. Talk to someone you trust. Find a way to stay productive despite how hard it is. Find your outlet and find your way. Thank you so much. If you want me to do more about this kind of presentation, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. I'll see you again next time.